Hey guys, CryPTOCLOVER here. I'm going to be doing a review on proof of weak hands today. So I've been kind of on the sidelines watching this project for like the last month. It first kind of came to my attention when I was seeing, a few of kind of the more well-known YouTubers kind of starting to get into it and commenting on it. You'd seen you'd seen Craig Grant and Trevon James and several other BitConnect people that had kind of gotten into the project. There were several people that were involved with BitConnect that had been emailing me, and we've been talking about it. A few guys that were involved with BitConnect before, and this was kind of something that has been compared, to some of the lending platforms in a way. And so one of the distinctions I wanted to make was, and one of the reasons why I'm really liking this project is that it's a little bit different than the lending platform. So most of the lending platforms are centralized in a sense that they have, they're under the control of a website where you have developers that are kind of managing a centralized website. Whereas this is different, whereas it's decentralized. You're downloading a program, you're interacting with a smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain, and from what I understand, it's unable to be changed or it has some interesting dynamics with this project. And so I wanted to go into a few different things and kind of give you guys a little bit of a breakdown tutorial, and I'm going to be kind of running through the process of getting into this. I recommend this one to kind of get in, maybe just with like one Ethereum. This is not something you want to put a whole lot into. However, I just got in just yesterday, and I'm already up about $800, in less than 12 hours. So it's been interesting to see. Just looking at the charts here, you've seen that there was a huge ramp up, and then it had basically crashed. And there were some different reasons for that. And so I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. So you saw this had kind of started back in April. Or I'm sorry, in March. Mid-March was kind of when we saw the beginning of this ramp up. And I saw a few people kind of talking about it online, a few people getting into it, and so there have been people that have been commenting on some of my streams, and I think that it was something that I was kind of seeing. And so I saw this huge ramp up, and really there wasn't a whole lot of some of these big dips, and that's I think I was kind of waiting to see, what was going to happen. It peaked at about 20,000 Ethereum in the contract, and then you saw a huge sell-off. And then it basically this is on the 5th, and from the 5th to the 16th, roughly, you saw that it basically had really come down and dipped. And from what I'd been gathering from some of my research, that a lot of this had to do with some of the conversations that were going on in the Discord chat. So I haven't had a chance to really get involved as much into the Discord chat, but there's been a lot of interesting conversations about it. Some people were kind of negative about it. Some people were very positive about it. Most of the people that were involved in the platform, were basically kind of explaining to me that, they'd gotten in and were doing, very well with the platform. And so what I'm trying to do with my recommendations and projects that I'm getting involved with is trying to find different ways for people to get into cryptocurrency and have a way to make passive income, or to get into projects that are going to be very profitable over time. And so this one looks very promising, and it's something that I'm going to be more involved with. Now, just recently, we had seen this huge kind of sell-off. A lot of people were basically selling out. It had reached a peak of about 20,000, had come all the way down to 6,500. So there was a lot of uncertainty with this particular project, and then now we're seeing a little bit of a ramp up You can see here it had basically hit bottom just yesterday, and you know, once I had really kind of seen this this major kind of buy-in, once it started getting into the 7,000s or whatnot, that's when I had got back in, or not got back in, but had just, you know, kind of gotten into the project. And so so I put in about a Bitcoin worth of Ethereum, and you know, that was just yesterday, and just waking up today and kind of seeing some of the progress was pretty was pretty reassuring. That I think this is going to be a project worthwhile getting into. Some of the advantages is that it's a smart contract. Like, this is going to be one that is a little bit more protected from being attacked from different entities. And so what we had seen with 2017 and kind of the rise of the lending platforms and people that were getting into some of these different cryptocurrency projects was that, you know, you had seen supposedly, you know, we don't really know for sure, but there were claims that these sites were getting DDoS attacked, that there was, you know, maybe some shady things going on behind the scenes that we don't really know and understand. And a lot of that can be attributed to, you know, human involvement. You know, whereas with the way I understand this smart contract and the way that the developers have designed it, is that this is something that doesn't have kind of the same dynamics where it can be, you know, it can exit scam, I guess, or it can, you know, drop to zero. Now, if everyone sells out and everyone, you know, essentially has, you know, weak hands, you know, this is going to be a project that is going to dip quite a bit in value. But there are some people that I've been kind of watching online, watching some different videos. I pretty much spent all day yesterday looking into that. And I think that there are some, you know, interesting aspects to this. With buys and sells, the dividends from those buys and sells are split up amongst everyone in the community that are holding the tokens. And so if there are buys and sells, a certain percentage of that is being split out to all of the token holders. And I think that there are some interesting aspects to decentralized applications on the Ethereum network and blockchain. And if we look at DApp Radar, which is monitoring kind of, you know, daily active users on some of these different applications that are on the Ethereum blockchain, proof of weak hands was #1 at one point not too long ago. Looks like my internet's kind of bugging out. There we go. So taking a look at this right now, that we can see proof of weak hands is #4, and it had been #1 not too long ago, and it surpassed CryptoKitties, which CryptoKitties was the #1 application here for a while. Now we've seen the IDEX and Fork Delta, these two decentralized exchanges, have recently surpassed these two platforms. I don't know much about this EtherGoo idle game. This is kind of a new one, but you can kind of see here this DAU is the daily active users. And so this is a platform that has received quite a bit of participation by people that are involved. And I still think that this is really in the early days of this particular platform. And so, you know, if you are interested in getting into it, I've left some steps below for getting into this platform and some of the things you kind of want to go through. It's actually remarkably simple if you understand a little bit about kind of getting into some of these projects. So I'm going to go through that a little bit. But the way this works, and one of the easiest ways to get into it, is through MetaMask. And so MetaMask is a project here that is a extension or a plugin that you are going to put onto your Chrome or Firefox browser. And so, like, I have it here. I don't have a transaction history here. I was actually doing this on one of my other computers, but I have just sent over almost 9 Ethereum, which you can see is about, you know, $4,700. in USD, and I'm going to be buying some tokens here with that and kind of show you guys that process. But basically, the way you're going to want to do this is you're going to want to set up the MetaMask extension in your browser, and once you have that installed, you're going to come in here, and if you click on these three dots, and you're going to see View Account on Etherscan, and what this is going to do is it's going to give you your Ethereum address. So you're going to want to send Ethereum to this address, and you can see here, like I just sent some from Coin Exchange. And you can kind of see some of my history of some of the transactions that I've done here recently. And so that is how you are going to basically send Ethereum to your MetaMask account. And so now that I have this plugin on this browser, you can see that I've got the Ethereum that I've got in the wallet here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get into the website and the exchange aspect. And so you can see right now I'm holding 1,772 tokens. This value was about 9,800 or so just last night when I had basically peaked at, like, you know, I kind of bought in at different times and kind of built it up to this amount. And you know, it was 9,800. Now it's at 10,600. So I've made about $800 in the last 12 hours, you know, just on the value increase in the coin. And part of that was because of, you know, I had bought in at kind of mid 7,000s area, somewhere in here, and you'd seen that a lot more people had kind of bought in, and thus it was kind of increasing the price. You also see that there are dividends from the people that are buying and selling. So so far I've made about 41 bucks so far, and you can reinvest this. You can pull it out, you can transfer to your MetaMask account, and then transfer into another account if you'd like. One of the ones that I've done is sending Ethereum to like a Coinbase account using your Shift card, and that's one way that you're able to kind of get out into fiat if that's what you need, you know, to basically kind of, you know, have spending money for some of your different holdings and whatnot. So there's a lot of interesting information on here. I'm going to leave a few links in the description below. You guys can kind of take a look. It has been very it's been a lot of satire with the website, a lot of kind of jokes and kind of some different things. I mean, people are calling it a pyramid scheme. They you know, I have, you know, their, you know, logo is, you know, pyramid. You know, there's kind of different ways of kind of looking at this, and you know, different ways of kind of interpreting this type of newer platform that we're kind of seeing. So I think there's definitely some interesting aspects to this project, and it's worthwhile getting into. And also, I'm going to be doing some more videos of getting into some of these other projects that we're kind of seeing. You know, kind of interacting with different smart contracts and whatnot, and so I'll be doing some different videos on that here in the future. Let me check in with the chat here a little bit. Let me pop this out. Pop out this chat. It says video output is low. That's unfortunate. I hope you guys are able to see this stream all right. Oh, that's unfortunate. So I apologize if this is kind of breaking in and out. So I may need to redo this video. But anyways, looks like it's doing okay now. So, okay, so moving forward, so I'm going to kind of run through and do kind of a basic investment. So running through the exchange, once you kind of get to the exchange aspect, you can buy and sell. So we're going to come into to buying and selling. So what we're going to do here is, I've got 8.92 Ethereum. And so what I try to do is I'll do like 8.91, just kind of a little bit under that amount. And what we're going to do is we're going to bump up the gas. So the gas is kind of the mining rewards for processing the transaction. And the higher that you have the gas fees, the faster that transaction is going to confirm. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to do 8.91. So it's going to give us about 644 tokens. So running through the purchase, I don't know if you guys can see this this different pop out. You're probably not going to be able to see this on this stream, but there's a gas price here that's currently at 1. We're going to bump this up to maybe like 4. I'm going to do 5, which is a 27-cent fee. So it's not a very substantial fee. We're going to hit submit. And so the buy order has been transmitted to the blockchain, awaiting confirmation. If you click on the MetaMask here, we can see that the transaction is processing. It's essentially in the pending state. And so if we click on this, it's going to come into the etherscan. It's not able to locate the transaction hash right in here. So part of it is just going to maybe, it's going to take a little time and just keep refreshing it. It may take a little bit of time to go through that. Looks like the stream is doing a little bit better. But yeah, this is, hope this is doing a little bit better. Let me know if you guys are having some trouble seeing the stream. So I may have to start doing. I like trying to do some of these streams because you guys can kind of interact and chat with me while I'm doing them. Let me pop out this chat. Bring this over. What's going on, Joe? Adventures in Bitcoin, Michael. Crypto Joe, Michael David. EtherGoo is basically a DAU spam because the same game runs on gas. One person can see them as hundreds. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit. I'll probably do a video on it here. Come to India. I really want to make it out to India. Hopefully, I can get some people and make some connections there. I'm interested in kind of spending some time out there. Is there a point to this platform, or does it just move money around? The way I understand it is it's it's basically kind of set up as a kind of an investment platform for people that are kind of getting into it. You're making money on some of the dividends. There's interesting aspects to it in terms of like how this is going to be profitable for people that are getting into it. It's been categorized or been described as a game, essentially. And so, there's been some theories that people were spreading a lot of FUD or things like that to actually bring the price down so that they could buy more coins or tokens. You kind of saw some of the same stuff going around with Jamie Dimon when he was talking bad and negatively about Bitcoin. And he had been on record and saying all this negative things about it, and meanwhile he's in the background, doing a lot of different projects that were based on that technology. So it's hard to kind of trust people in different things, but I think this is one that is worthwhile getting into. Some of these Ethereum smart contracts seem like the next step and the next evolution of cryptocurrency in general. If you've been watching my streams, I've been very adamant about getting into decentralized exchanges. Right now, the #1 exchange, if we take a look, let's take a look at CoinMarketCap and take a look at the exchanges. The #1 exchange has been Binance for quite recently here. As you can see, Binance wasn't even really around a year ago. So a year ago, this time, it didn't even exist. It was something that had just come onto the scene really and kind of gained in popularity in the fall of 2017 and has really kind of taken off since. There's been a lot of kind of different ways that that these exchanges have been under fire from regulatory agencies or just kind of different with the way they're being interpreted in different countries. And you see in Binance has now picked up and moved their entire operation to, a small island in the Mediterranean because of the regulatory environment. And I think what you're going to see is a lot of these exchanges are centralized, and they're going to be subject to regulation and attacks. Whereas what we're going to see here in the next several years is, I think, a move into decentralized applications and projects. That's why I've been very interested in like IDEX, Fork Delta, Kyber Network. These decentralized exchanges, they haven't really picked up, and they're not doing the same volume as some of the as Binance, Upbit, OKEX, Huobi, BitHum, but they are starting to have to kind of change some of their operations and comply with a lot of different things. And there's just different aspects to that. When you're kind of on an immutable smart contract, and you have people that are investing into it or getting involved with it, it's kind of the next step. You're kind of taking out the human element. You're taking out the element for potential attacks. And I think this is going to be the next step, is that the decentralized aspect, where you're installing a piece of software on your computer and you're interacting with that software and the exchange. So with proof of weak hands, you're not logging into the website. You're not creating an account. It's the account is through MetaMask. And so let's take a look and see if that confirmation had gone through. Yeah. So now if we can kind of come back through here. So we had bought here. You can see that I had 1772 and PD3 tokens. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And so now those 600 and whatnot coins, I don't know how many that was, have been added. So now I'm holding 24, 16 PD3 coins. So when I had got into BitConnect, I did a lot of research kind of in the April timeframe. I basically got into BitConnect exactly a year ago. And I did a lot of research. There was a lot of negativity. There was a lot of uncertainty. There was not a whole lot of people talking about it at the time. I did quite a bit of research on it, and I felt like it was something to get into. And what I did is I kind of came in at around a $10,000 level, kind of upfront, kind of putting quite a bit of a big investment up front, and then basically kind of pulling out and trying to get my initial capital back, and then basically kind of running with the coins that I had, or the lending that profits and things like that, and basically pulling out to a point where recouping my initial investment. And that's what I would recommend with proof of weak hands. I still would probably recommend not putting a whole lot in as I am. I don't, if you can afford to put that much in, I guess that that's great, but this is one that I would be something I think I would get into it, maybe pull out your initial investment and then kind of see where it's going from there. But the way I understand this is something that is not going to be able to be taken down. It has had some issues. There's been apparently the 3D is like, this is the third generation of this project, and they were having some issues with it before, at least with from on the development side. It sounds like they had got this straightened out or whatnot, but yeah. And then the other thing is, if we kind of come into the 1 minute chart, I just put in 9 Ethereum roughly. So that's me right there. This bump in price, that was me buying in right here. So this purchase is me. So you can actually kind of see, like, we're still in a very early phases with this project, and as more people kind of come in, those dividends of like the 10% roughly that's being taken out of the money that you're investing into the platform, those are going to be split amongst the token holders depending on how many tokens you're holding. So let me check in with the chat a little bit. Let's see here. I'm always popping this chat out, and it's kind of coming back. Basically a decentralized exchange run on an Ethereum smart contract that is immutable. 10% of buys and sells, trade, transfer of PD3 tokens goes to everyone else distributed equally. It's probably, that's a good description of it, depending on your share of the P3D. Late to the party. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to see how this was going to play out before I kind of got in. You know, I probably could have put in a little bit to kind of test it out, but I was kind of waiting on the sidelines to see this. Yeah, and I was kind of waiting to see how this was going to play out. But a lot of people had success with it. A lot of people were kind of telling me they've been doing pretty well with it, and so that was an incentive for me test it out and get in. And so I kind of got in at you know, roughly about the 10, you know, basically a little over a Bitcoin. I think I put in like 1.2, 1.3 Bitcoin. And of course, like 20% of that is being taken out as you're kind of getting into, it's being taken out of what you're investing in as far as the PD3 tokens. So you're not getting the full amount. This whole video needs redoing, starts and stops way too much, really fuzzy. Yeah, I apologize for that. I was hoping that the internet was going to be okay, so I may need to redo this again. Basically, the first two versions were incomplete, got leaked, and used as an exit scam. When the cease and desist hits, what will come of it? I mean, the way I understand this is there's no one really to send a cease and desist to. It's a you know, it's a decentralized platform, and so there's some certain advantages with that. So, but that's kind of the rundown of kind of getting into this platform. And if I need to, I may need to redo this video. But kind of put down the steps of getting into it. There's a master node incentive. So essentially, it's if you're using someone else's masternode, there's a certain percentage that comes out of that. You can set up a masternode through the exchange, and I need to do a little bit more research on that, and I'm going to do some videos on it once I kind of get a little bit more up to speed on that. But yeah, there's some interesting aspects to this. It looks interesting. Now, if you want to come in here and you want to check your holdings, so like I'm coming into my holdings right here, and so you can see, you know, basically essentially what this is worth in USD. You know, what we've seen is as far as like, you know, these are the dividends, the rewards or whatnot. So if we wanted to reinvest, let's try that. So we got a little bit here. We're going to reinvest these dividends. It's taking a little bit here. So I apologize if the internet's kind of cutting in and out. I may need to find, I'm going to be moving here, and one of the big things I'm going to be trying to do is find the fastest internet connection I can, so that I can stream a little bit easier. So it seems to be like sometimes I don't have any issues or problems with the streams here. Seems to be kind of bugging out here a little bit. Yeah, BitConnect is a totally different thing. Like this is kind of the next step. Like BitConnect was a centralized platform by a bunch of anonymous developers, and there wasn't a whole lot of connection or communication with the people that were involved with the development of the platform. You kind of had these promoters that were put in place. There was, you know, a huge ramp up, and there were some different things that were you know, that were maybe a little bit disconcerting with the platform. That's why a lot of people were negative about it. You've seen people that are getting interested in this. You know, you've seen Sunny Decree, Supoman have been doing some videos. Both of those guys have invested. They're not really doing a whole lot of videos on it, but they are invested in the platform. There's you know, others that have somewhat commented on it. Some people are calling it a scam, but if you kind of watch some of those videos and kind of make some of your own opinions and judgments, it does tend to there's just some different opinions on it. I don't know if I'm totally sold on some of the negative aspects to it. Yeah, cease and desist was not the reason BitConnect exit. Yeah, it's hard to say what the reason was, or what ended up happening. There's a lot of things about that platform that didn't totally make sense. I haven't read the GitHub. Is there one? There is a GitHub community. I haven't looked as much into it. I know I've been on a few GitHub PoWH sites where I've been kind of looking into it. It's a little bit technical when you start kind of getting into the kind of the nitty-gritty of that. I don't understand why this is taking so long. Let's try and refresh. Try this again. And this is one thing I have noticed. So if I do, so I had just done this one right here, and I just did it again, and it's bringing up this this transaction again. So I have had some issues. When you see this circle, that is basically a confirmation that it went through. And so like I adjusted this one, it was fetching the database. So there's some different things that I'm kind of noticing about this that are something I'm going to have to maybe do a little bit more kind of just experimenting with. But I have noticed that when I'm having issues and say I refresh, you'll get these pop up a little bit. If you look at on my other computer, it's using the same MetaMask account, but it doesn't have the transaction history. I had several that I had to come in here. And if you basically click on this, I'm going to reject this. Let's see what happens when I reject it. I'm going to do this twice. So it just rejected, both these transactions. So I'm going to refresh here. So checking into this right here, we can see that it was rejected. Let's try and see again if we can get this to load. Unfortunately, it looks like this is taking some time. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this to be able to go through on this site right now. But this is something sometimes you got to play around with a little bit, and there's a little bit of a learning curve. But for the most part, it's actually remarkably simple, and that's I think something that's really interesting about this design. There's been people that have been saying, they're surprised that this hasn't been something that's come on to the scene, before. It seems like this has been something that we should have seen like in 2016, 2017. It's a remarkably simple platform. You're kind of investing in the smart contract. You can pull out your Ethereum if you're done playing the game, as they kind of are terming it. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this to go through on this. Seems to be holding up a little bit. Let me check in with the chat. Yeah, I'm getting the circle of death here. So I think I'm going to get off the stream here in a little bit. Maybe take a few more questions. Make sure you have enough gas. Yeah. I have had some issues with the reinvest. I tried this on my other computer and was having some issues, but it's a very small amount. So I'm not sure why that's holding up in the system. Might have something to do with my my internet connection. I think Vitalik and crew could shut down proof of weak hands if they wanted to. They have huge power of the blockchain and can edit anything. That's a risk. That's definitely definitely a risk if there's something where this can have some issues. So I'm investing into. I'm going to hold I think maybe roughly about 2,500 coins or tokens, and start pulling out, try to get my initial capital back, and through dividends or the price rise of the coin, probably just pulling out dividends. I think I'm just going to pull out dividends until I get my initial capital back. But one of the ideas that I had was to basically live here in Vietnam on the interest and dividends that I'm making from some of these platforms. Some of the other things I wanted to get into is taking some of these profits and investing into mining operations. So I'm meeting tomorrow with IE Miner and going to be doing a little bit more research on that and kind of getting some more information. But it is there, you know, crypto is inherently risky. So any of these projects can have issues. But you know, I think that the getting diversified, getting into a lot of different projects, getting into a lot of different coins right now is kind of the way to go. And there's going to be a couple that are going to have issues and problems, but I think that you know, over time, as you're kind of getting into these different projects and diversifying, I think that that's going to be kind of the way to go. One of the things I'm kind of looking into is as opposed to holding, say, Bitcoin, is getting into a legitimate mining project where you can take your Bitcoin, put it into a mining project, and basically get a higher rate of return, so you can basically get more Bitcoin. So the mining aspect is a kind of a can be a safer way of getting into cryptocurrency. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this to pull up. Let me bring up my MetaMask here. So you can see that it's pulling up. So we just rejected those two, but this one, let me see if I can do, okay, so it's pulling this up. Maybe there's just something I'm just doing wrong. Let me try this and see if this is going to work. Let me try like 3, submit. Okay, that looked like that worked. Reinvest has been transmitted to the blockchain. So we'll see if that goes through, but and you can click on this and it's going to bring up the etherscan. So okay, yeah, so it's pending. So it looks like if that's happening, maybe you just need to get into your MetaMask and it's going to process it that way. So keep having to go back here and pop out in the chat. But maybe take a few more questions and then call us a stream. Clover, have you seen Time is Crypto YouTube videos on PD3's #2 PD3 holder? Must see 30-minute video we posted yesterday. Yeah, I watched that video, and I think there were some interesting points and things he was bringing up, especially in the middle part of the video. But I think that he brings up some really interesting points. He's obviously going to be a little bit more incentivized to promote the platform, being the #2 token holder. But it is a little bit more spread out. Like you're not having a whole lot of people that are huge holders. And so if you look back at a platform like BitConnect, there was BitConnect was holding a substantial portion of the coins, and thus were able to really kind of control and manipulate the price of their own coin on their own exchange. And I'm going to do maybe a video on that here at some point to kind of go a little bit more in depth on that. I'm still waiting to see if there's anything that's going to come out of that. I mean, we've seen that you know, the exchange hasn't launched. There hasn't been a whole lot of news or things like that. Like I haven't heard, you know, any news from some of the people, you know, behind it. Unfortunately, you're putting your trust into other people that are associated with the platform, and you know, that's kind of the downfall of that. Whereas a platform like this doesn't have that. It's an immutable contract in a way. Put it this way, Vitalik would have to shut down the entire Ethereum network to shut down P3D. I got in with 3 Ethereum, left with 4. I got weak hands. Yeah, I think if you watch that video by the Time is Crypto, the guy wearing the mask, I mean, he's essentially on record saying, it's like, I don't care if it goes down to you know, 2,000, you know, Ethereum in the contract. You know, you know, he can actually calculate the amount of money that he's going to make on dividends, and you know, he's essentially, you know, in this for the long haul. He's actually just recently started putting out some promotional videos to giveaways and that sort of thing for people that are looking to buy in to the masternode. I still don't really understand the masternode aspect. It does seem to be functioning and working, just really just by holding the coins. A little bit easier to kind of get into. All right, guys. So if you have any questions or things you want me to kind of look into, leave them in the comment section below. And I'm going to do a couple updates on this from time to time. I still want to kind of get into a few of the other Ethereum application projects and something to kind of supplement this aspect. But I want to get more and more into the decentralized exchange kind of arena or space, if you will, and this is one of them. Like these decentralized applications on the Ethereum network is something that I want to do do a little bit more investigative videos on, and kind of share some of my experiences with that. So I appreciate you guys staying online. Like and subscribe, and catch you guys on the next one.